Hello and welcome back to the Power Era. I have Jen Jordan, who is an integrative registered nurse who is doing some amazing things within DNA and really getting to the root of things. She's the person who wants to get in there with you and talk about all the different ways to heal in an innovative way. I'm so excited to have you on. She has been on quite the journey. I'm ready to dive into all of it. Welcome, Jen.
Thank you. Thanks for the nice introduction.
Okay, the first time I talked to you, you told me your story that got you into the work that you're doing. And I think so many people are going to really resonate with your story. So I would love for you to share that with my listeners today.
Yeah. You want me to start from the very beginning or?
Let's start with you working in the healthcare industry
Okay.
and how that transitioned for you.
Yeah. I began working in the healthcare system in 1992. My background was in kinesiology and nutrition, and I worked in cardiac rehab, diabetes, and stress management. Way back then, I developed actually the first stress management program in the Santa Cruz County where I was living at the time for a small hospital. So here I was, 23 years old, telling 80-year-olds about stress. So that's where I learned very early on how to develop rapport quickly with people.
Yes.
And that was my beginning. And then I went on to decide I want to have a baby, which was 30 years ago. And at that time was working in cardiac rehab and told everybody, I'll be back. I'll see you with using as a little table because I loved that, but I loved what I was doing. Well, then when I had my daughter, my midwife basically told me, hey, you got bit by the birth bug here because I said, I want to do this. I need to do all this that just happened, this whole experience I just went through. I need to do this. So I switched gears. I became an obstetric nurse and really wanted to be a midwife, actually. But I was noticing how tired my midwives looked all the time. They look
Hmm.
exhausted, and I'm a sleeper. So I decided, well, no, that's not going to work. I'll go into L&D, labor and delivery and obstetrics. So overall, total time before I stepped out and started my own health and wellness business, I was in that clinical setting for 30 years total
Okay.
time.
So in traditional medicine for 30 plus years.
In traditional medicine for 30 plus years. Yes. However, I walked two paths that whole time
Mhm.
because it's always been very important to me from a very, very young age to share health with people and to show them the ways that I could see as the truth within health, which is very difficult to do in Western medicine, traditional Western medicine at the bedside as a nurse. But I still managed to pull some things off. So in my own personal life with my family, I walked that holistic path with them. Neither one of my children, 26 and 30, have ever been on an antibiotic or have a cavity. And I didn't take them to the doctor.
That's
They'd known how I really, really
your
was.
closet life.
So my nurse friends would call me the closet crunchy nurse because I did walk these two paths. So when I was at the bedside for all those years, I was able to plant little seeds as I went along and still help people, even though I was extremely restricted. So as I was nearing that 30-year mark, the several years prior to that, my soul was screaming because you get to a certain point where when your truth is blocked so many times over 3 decades that you got to do something different. Something
Yeah.
needs to change. But my problem and its problem at that point, I was dealing with corporate addiction because I'd only ever worked for the man. I've only ever worked for another hospital or medical group my entire career. So I didn't know how to go do something on my own. And it's also a very narcissistic kind of organization too, because every time you hint about leaving, going and doing something different, they start throwing more money at you or benefits. So they love bomb you right when you're about to withdraw. So it was very difficult. And we're raised in this culture that does not show us or honor being entrepreneurs, especially women.
Exactly. Yeah.
And so I had no guidance. I had a soul push, but I didn't know what to do. So God's like, all right, girl, I'm like, I'm running out of time. So in 2021, and I worked through 2020. Goodness
Oh,
gracious. Yeah. Wow. Garbed up. I felt like Darth Vader.
yeah.
I mean, we had N95s, masks, goggles, full hazmat right in the beginning, trying to work with neonatal intensive care babies. And it was a lot. So hero, 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 just all through 2020, right? All the hospitals like were grateful we were there. It was
Yeah.
literally like being in the trenches. And in 2021, I've always been involved in so many projects. I never just did the bedside nursing. Since 1992, involved in education of any sort, onboarding people, teaching the patients. So I was always on some kind of a board, hiring board, process improvement board.
How very man gen of you.
I know now. I know why.
Now you know why.
So I was working on a project and I get excited. So I was helping my boss with the project and I worked this one Tuesday. I remember the date and worked 3 to 11 p.m. I was going to be back in the morning for this meeting. We were going to just get this program ready to rock and roll. I woke up at around 4 a.m. a completely diaphoretic, just sweating, I mean, literally like I was in the shower, horrifying abdominal pain.
Oh my goodness.
I was so sick out of nowhere. I had a fever. I was just crawling, barely could get even to the bathroom. I was on the bathroom floor for 4 hours in my sweat and I couldn't get to my phone just to call somebody. I was so sick. I was fine when I went to bed at 1 o'clock the night before. And it was so such sudden onset. And I'm not a baby. I have natural childbirth. The next baby was supposed to be born at home. Like I'm not exaggerating the pain and awfulness of it. Fast forward, being a typical nurse, I'm like, oh, I'm fine. But I could not go to work. I mean, it was awful. I'm calling my boss and she was worried because I don't do that. Right.
Yeah.
But for 4 days, I'm still plugging around. I'm trying to get a garden in. I'm like dying. Like literally, I could not eat. If I ate anything, I went into instant pain and spasms in my gut. I could barely sip water. My whole gut would just blow up. But I kept plugging. Day 4, I'm like, I need fluids. I just need a bag. I need an IV. That's all. So I like drive myself to the to the urgent care. But I'd also ordered some planting chops from Home Depot. I'm like, well, while I'm down there, I was so sick. I look back, I'm like, what in the world? What are you doing? I hadn't eaten for 4 days, barely sips. I'm like, I'm super dehydrated. My skin's tinty. I'm like, oh, but it's so close to the Home Depot where the urgent care is. I'm going to just hop into the Home Depot. So anyway, I get down to the urgent care and he's like, no, you need to go to the ER. Like, no, I'm fine. Just give me some fluids. I swear, fine.
Just need some fluids. It's fine.
He's like, no, you gotta go to the ER. I'm like, gosh, I gotta go to the Home Depot. So I went to Home Depot, loaded up these things, drove an hour back up the hill. We live very rural, pulled them out of the back of my truck. And then I'm like, okay, I guess I'll go to the ER that's like more local here. But I like had this intuitive hint. I'm like, you're probably gonna get admitted. It really is how I felt. So I have this really expensive hitch on my truck because I pull a big horse trailer. I'm like, it's gonna be in the parking lot in this hillbilly town. I'm pulling my hitch off. So I pull my 150-pound hitch off. I want to get stolen. Get into the ER anyway. No one knows what's going on. They're bringing all these specialists in, blah, blah, blah. I get admitted for 4 days. There's some sort of weird thing going on where my liver was getting attacked. Like it was dying. The numbers were in the hundreds and hundreds that should have been in the teens. Out of nowhere. And so anyway, I have a naturopathic physician that I had for 10 years in the Bay Area using a medical device from Germany, which we will talk about here momentarily.
I'm excited about that.
And so I needed to know exactly what this was because the docs were all fumbling around. So I overnight a saliva sample to her. She's booked 6 months out. Thank God I've been with her for 10 years. I'm like, I'm dying, literally dying in the hospital. Can you figure this out? So she tested and finds I have a very rare bacteria infection I picked up from working in the soil, and alpacas carry it. Apparently, I live on an alpaca farm.
Oh, okay.
So anyway, she sends me an anti-parasitic thing. I walk out of the hospital a day later. So I'm told I was fine. But I had lost like 12 pounds. I weigh 112 pounds on average my whole life. And so that was a lot. And so I'm trying to rebuild myself back up. And during this time was an opportunity for me to think, well, could I do something else? Because when you're away from that environment that is soul sucking, you start to have your mind wander.
Yeah.
And so I decided that I was not going to go back. I said, I don't know what I'm going to do, but I'm not going to go back. And so then I'm recovering. It took me weeks to recover from that.
Yeah.
And I'm telling my boss that, okay, I'm not sure what I want to do. I wasn't really telling her, actually. I'm not sure what I'm going to do. And then I decided that after about a few weeks, the corporate double sneaking back in. Mm-hmm. This isn't really self-care. Like literally these words coming in. You think this is self-love, Jen? It's self-love to financially strap yourself. You're not loving yourself by quitting this job because it supports you and blah, blah, blah. I literally crept in.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, what I'll do then, I'll go for a year and I'm going to be done. And I'll save all my money to start my own business, even though I don't know what in the heck I'm going to do.
Yeah.
So anyway, I'm like, yep, that's the plan.
How did the universe respond?
So then what happens during several weeks of recovery time, I've been like going out to lunch with my mom and it was fun. And I was on a medical leave. I'm going to be going back in about a week. I'm like, let's go have one last lunch. And we're at a restaurant and yeah, let's do it. So we're there and I'm sitting there and all of a sudden I'm like, my mom said, are you okay? Yeah. No, I'm not. Call 911. And I went into atrial fibrillation. My heart just went into this horrible arrhythmia. I'm like sitting there having lunch. Like I don't have a heart problem. So I thought I walked out of the restaurant very gracefully. My mom said I tripped all over everything because I'm like, I'm not going to have them bring a gurney in here. So I think I got to get outside and ruin everybody's breakfast. Anyway, I go outside and the ambulance is there and this and that, blah, blah, blah. And I can't get out of this heart rhythm. They're shoving an IV in me. Back into the ambulance. I go back to the same hospital that I had just been in about a month or so prior. They're like, oh, hey.
And she's back.
So I have this heart thing, this right bundle branch block, this arrhythmia from nowhere, right? And so now I'm out on a medical leave of absence again. I think I was out a total of maybe almost 6 months over the time, I think.
This is a longer time frame. I got it.
It's a longer time frame because these complications were pretty involved. Didn't go as deep as I could here. So now we're trying to chase the heart thing around. I am on medical leave again. Now I'm thinking, I'm really not going back. Like, what am I going to do? What should I do? And I'm like, okay, I'll be a massage therapist because I can hang a shingle.
Why not?
I can't go open a hospital or something. I'm a nurse, right?
Yeah.
So I get that decided. I'm about to enter into this 9-month program going every day, 5 days a week, an hour and 15 minutes from here, which now I'm like, a little crazy. But that was the plan. And so 2 days before I'm supposed to start the school to go do this thing, to go be a massage therapist, the largest California fire in history breaks out right over there on the other side of that hill.
Oh, wow.
And we're evacuated for 3 weeks. So this program only starts one time and then goes the 9 months. I can't just bump in and it's once a year. So I'm like, I'm not going to be a massage therapist. Okay. So what am I? That's not working. So, oh my goodness. So then I do decide, I'm like, well, maybe I'm not sure really what I'm going to do. I guess I'll go back again. I'll just hang out till I figure it out. Fast forward, rolling in, out come the COVID mandate. So I'm very holistic. I I believe our bodies can heal themselves with the right support. And if you have a healthy, resilient body, not everyone needs these things.
Yeah.
Okay. This was also, keep in mind, during the My Body, My Choice movement. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
It was the exact same time.
Right. And that's
which I
so
thought was
interesting.
extremely ironic.
100%. Agreed.
I'm like, oh, well, I'm not doing that. I am not doing that, especially since I had gotten COVID so badly. I had 8 weeks of bilateral pneumonia.
Oh, wow.
And it was bad. And that turned out to be what affected my heart. I just didn't know it.
Okay.
And I didn't go to the doctor at all during that 2 weeks. I'm down in my horse barn with my stethoscope where I listen to my horse's bowel sounds, like listening to my lungs going, oh, this is really bad. I bootlegged some doxycycline from someone somewhere out here and just self-treated. And oh my God.
There you go.
So anyway, so here we are. So with that history of having that so badly, it really would have jeopardized my health potentially.
Yeah.
So I was saying no. I still wasn't back at the hospital. Keep in mind, I'm still home on medical leave when this is rolling out. I had until this October 15th or whatever. And they're saying, you're going to do this? You're going to do this? I'm like, no. They're like, oh, you are a hazard to the patients if you were to come back. You're a risk. So like last week, I was a hero getting like pins and donuts at the door for being a COVID superhero. And now I'm a hazard to these same people taken care of.
Yeah.
A risk to their health. So bottom line, I said no. And the deadline kept pushing. And this was like, well, I don't know what I'm going to do, but I'm not doing that. And so ultimately I got terminated after 30 years.
Which is so ridiculous in and of itself.
But it was the biggest blessing of my entire life. Now I'm in a situation where I wanted to, Andie, I was so bad. I wanted to. My soul was saying, get out of here, go do your own thing. But I just didn't have a how or what.
Yeah.
You know, what am I going to do? I don't know. And so I needed this push. I needed this God push, this universe push to get me into a place where I didn't have a choice. I no longer had a choice. So now all of a sudden I'm fired. And I'm like, well, I remember where I was sitting in the same place, in the same cottage where I had all those illnesses. It's interesting. It's in the same place, in the same bed. I felt like I was dying a few times. Okay, so what do I do now, God? And literally could hear the voice coming this way. It just gives me goosebumps.
Same chills.
And said, buy a time waiver. It was literally that voice. It was a command. So let me back up. The time waiver was the medical device that I sent my saliva sample to my naturopathic physician, who scanned it and within 5 minutes knew this very rare bacteria infection that I had and how to treat it with $10 worth of fenbendazole. Where I'm like thousands in the hospital, but I walk out
being saved by a $10 pill.
Exactly. So that's what the time waiver is. That was the technology she uses. I'm like, well, okay. All right. Well, so I'm unemployed now, God. And it's a $50,000 device that lives in Germany. So what are we doing? But it was a command. So there was no denying it.
Right.
It was a command.
Yeah.
So I'm like, well, I got fired. I have access to my 403B. All right. Because you can't get it when you're employed. So I'm like, well, I guess I'll pull 50 grand out of my retirement and get this device from Germany. I literally had that here in 4 days. That is impossible. It came from Germany. It blew through customs. And it was just, boop, here you are. Now what do I do? Okay. So I'm like, so I'm in training in Germany in their online academy in the middle of the night because 2 a.m. is their morning.
Yeah.
1 and 2 a.m. So I'm setting my alarm and training in the middle of the night with the German people. And plus I just knew this. Now I know why I do. After having my session with you a couple days ago, I just knew how to do this.
Yep.
And I also was familiar with it and what it can do because it'd been my medicine for 10 years. It's what at that point, so now 14 years ago, had determined that I don't make a specific enzyme that breaks gluten down. And so my life is miserable with gluten. It wasn't a trend, it wasn't a fad for me.
Yeah.
It's different for everybody. And so it changed my life in that way. And so I knew what it could do. And so I was playing with it, messing it, was scanning everyone I knew. So one day, this friend of mine, she said, Jen, you just have to start doing it. I was seeing people in the community, and she's like, you're changing lives here. You are finding out, and I don't diagnose, but you are getting to the root cause of where their imbalances are coming from. And it's not the same for any one person. And so she's like, just start doing it. And I was like, I'm a Virgo. So I'm like, I'm not perfect with this yet. I can't do it. And so finally she's like, call this person, blah, blah, blah. So I call this person up in Nevada City, which is near me. They all these big assemblies, like 150 people. She goes, tell her what you're doing and just trust me on that. I'm like, okay, so I do. I get invited up there. I give a presentation with this thing in live time, 150 people. There's a 2-hour line after this meeting with over people waiting to sign up to do their thing. So my business launched that night and I was booked for 6 months.
Ooh, I'm going to interject right now because that is what I need people to hear from your story. It lines up with everything I teach so well, and everything I'm trying to share on this podcast is that uncomfortability of your soul sitting with a job that you knew no longer served you, that was no longer a good fit. And every time you tried to go back, the universe met you with no, no, no. And then when you no longer had a chance to go back, immediately you're met with a path forward. And what's really cool about Jen is she's got some really cool channels that I love to talk about with people when we do readings. She's got this channel called the Channel of Power. And it's the 34 talking to the 57 gate. And with that gate, it literally is when you release the will and when you trust yourself and what happens for you, things just line up. I have read for some really influential people, and they are the ones who usually have this channel. And they are always like, I was just at the right place at the right time. I shot my shot and I just knew in my gut and my intuition it was the right place. It's because it's literally your intuition talking to your gut. So when these two talk together, stuff like this happens. You have the right meeting that you're meant to be at, and you just happen to like have everything fall into place. And that is the beauty. And why I had to have Jen on the podcast is because she's a living example of how uncomfortable the older we get it is to keep living a life that no longer aligns. Because how old were you when you finally left nursing?
Let's see, I would have been 51.
It is that power era where like your
Yeah.
creativity is coming back and you're jumping into this place. And now you have this thriving practice. You have a tool that is helping so many. And you're in such a better place when we let go. I say let go and let God. We trust the universe. Magic happens. And I loved your story so much for that reason, because it is truly a living embodiment and example of how beautifully things can move when we trust, when we let go. Now I want to hear more about this time waiver.
Absolutely. I would love to. And something that's coming up to say to you as well, too, is those last few years in that clinical setting, the biggest thing for me is like, I'm not serving others as well as I can be in this
Yes.
setting. So a lot of that draw was there's some stuff I've got to do, and it's for other people, for their health. I'm not serving anyone anymore at all in here.
Right. And I'm sure being in traditional medicine, you were seeing in real time the disconnect
Yeah.
that is in traditional medicine. We are not at all here saying that traditional medicine does not have its place. That is not the conversation here. But there are some really big gaps in traditional medicine.
Absolutely. And when it comes to wellness, there are huge gaps. And so I
Yes.
wasn't able to provide any wellness pieces to my patients. I really was handcuffed and pretty gagged those whole 3 decades that I knew were not correct, but I also was the one that would always get called to the principal's office. Why did you tell that patient this? Because the truth, and they needed options. They were giving one option and there were four.
Yeah.
Dr. Smith doesn't like it when you do this. So then I would go to the doctor would leave, close the door, all cameras off and recording everything. Would you like to hear some other options on what you can do with this? I said, yeah. And I said, and if you ever say I said this, I'll just deny it. And they're like, no, no, we trust you. You've been our nurse for 4 days. What? Tell us, tell us.
Yeah.
So I was able to plant a lot of seeds that way. And that was beautiful. But I was tired of having to hide.
Yeah.
And that's what I was doing. So I was hiding. So now I got out and I put my business into what's called a private membership association. Okay. So it's in a 508c1a ministry. So I am sheltered from local, state, and federal jurisdiction as much as I can be because I wanted to open my mouth and speak the truth and say things that, yeah, are probably a little out of my scope, but
Yeah.
because
That's your gate 20.
I got out. Got out. Yeah. I wanted to speak to the biggest reasons I need to move out of there because
Mhm.
I wasn't serving anyone as much as I could be.
Yeah.
So time waiver, it's evolved.
Right. Right. As one does. Yeah.
I'm sharing my story. I remember, and when all of a sudden I have booked for 6 months, I have no computer programs at all. I have no Calendly. I have no Practice Better. I basically had Word and Google. So I'm like, oh my gosh. So I'm hand penciling here, calling this person, collecting. I mean, I was up hours and hours and hours, like during the night, just trying to figure out how to do all this.
Good problems to have.
Learned how to be an entrepreneur sitting on a camp stove. The fire was at my butt 24/7 to figure this out on the fly. So I look back about all the things I've moved through, and I don't have it dialed in still now. So keep in mind, I'm also looking at some very serious health issues with people,
Yeah.
integrating that while trying to figure out how to run a business and even bill them. I mean, it was not like I built the business and then opened the front door and had a grand opening and served champagne and nibbles. It's just, it didn't happen that way.
Yeah.
It was like I built this like in a dungeon. That's how I felt like. I was in the moldy basement, but it felt like trying to build on demand.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's not how we do things. But God's like, well, we're not listening to me for decades, so we don't have time
We're
to,
going to make you learn the hard way that
we gotta
no matter
go.
what, this thing needs to happen.
We gotta go. It's time.
Yeah.
I'm like, all right. So I just doing that. My clients are people that have spent years and years in allopathic medicine. People like to refer to it as traditional medicine. It's not traditional because it's only been around 200 years.
Right.
Traditional medicine is Eastern medicine, thousands of years. And so I call it modern.
Yeah, I think that's the best term for it. It is modern medicine.
Medicine, if you want to call it medicine. I do want to make a point too. You've said something. Yes, anyone's listening on here. I do not poo-poo modern Western medicine, except for when they try to step into the wellness realm.
Yes, that's a really good distinction. Thank you for saying that.
Because I'm still a nurse.
Yeah, the way that Western medicine or modern medicine is built is on care after the fact. It is not built on preventative measures.
Exactly. Or using natural measures to rehab.
Right. None of that is taught.
An event. And I want to make that clear. It is not that model's fault. They don't have the information. They are not taught it in the curriculum. So it's like being upset with someone who was raised in France because they don't speak Spanish.
Right. The language and verbiage is just not there.
Exactly. They don't know. The toolbox, it's closed unless it's mainly a procedure or a pharmaceutical drug. But I do have a place. For example, I on Thursday was on the phone with one of my clients I've been working with for a long time. I said, you need to call your GI doctor. This has come to a point now. And so this is why I love my balance is I've always been very holistic and I have all these tools in my toolbox that way. And And that's how I raised my family. And but I also have the clinical mind too. And I know how to triage things and critically think myself through things. So when something starts presenting that's like, this is a potential medical problem emergency, I'm on the phone. Yep, you're with Nurse Jen, health and wellness integration nurse. But guess what? You got to go see your GI doc. They made an appointment for Monday. I will be on speakerphone with them while they're in there with their GI because this guy needs a CAT scan.
Yeah.
Absolutely. There's something we need to rule out that I know is probably what's going on. I can't rub basil over the belly and fix that.
We're beyond that
Okay.
at this point.
Right. So I am not against that. I just want to make that very clear.
And I think that's something that makes what you do even more valuable is because sometimes people who are in the wellness space don't know when to do the handoff. And I think where you are that registered nurse, where you have 30 years of experience, when this is time for a handoff.
Exactly. And
And
also
that's a really important distinction.
absolutely. And I'm not kicking my client out. I'm still with them, but we need to collaborate with someone else now.
Right.
Because I will never put anyone at harm.
Yeah.
So when someone sees me, they've been working for years and years, usually through that model of medicine. They're not getting better. Then they might have dumped 40K into functional medicine,
which is sadly a big deal. Like
yeah,
that's a whole other conversation.
And lots of labs. And the mindset's correct there too. I love that. They're like, let's find other things. And now my client that's coming to me has their own apothecary of supplements, and none of that has helped them.
Yeah.
So then they come to me and they're so skeptical by the time they get to me because they're like, blah, 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 I'm broke. I've spent all this money on all these things and nothing's working. And so what makes you different? So it's a hard sell. And why I want it to be a sell? Because I know that I can pull them in and get to the bottom of what's going on with them because of the technology I have. There's only 2 of us in the United States that use it in this way, myself and my naturopathic physician. It's used in other areas more in like coaching and things like that, because it does bring up psychological and emotional, spiritual things as well.
Very cool.
I do incorporate that as well. But when someone is so physically ill and they're so tired of being tired,
right, you got to hit that first.
So tired of feeling like just crap. You guys, it's so sad. How many people walk around every day? They just feel terrible and they don't know why.
Yeah.
So I scan either a fingernail, hair, or saliva sample. If their hair is colored and their fingernails are pretty, I can't scan that, but I'll
good to know.
Salivia kit. And within that hour, we have an hour session. I'm going through the live scan. I don't send it out. It's right here. Nothing's labeled. The fingernail goes in my garbage can. Nothing's sent out to any other
third-party lab or anything,
entity or anything. Because I've been questioned, where does this go? I'm like, in the garbage.
Not cloning you.
It's like, nope, unlabeled. We know that's a nurse's thing. You don't throw anything away that's labeled. And when we're on the call, I'm asking these questions. Wow, do you get anxiety sometimes after you eat? And they're like, whoa, who would know that? And why? Because what I'm seeing are the things that would be causing that. For example, if it's a certain bacteria that's showing up in the stomach, that can be. And they're like, huh. Or sometimes short of breath. I'm like, yeah, okay. So we keep working through. The reason I have them on the call is because I want to corroborate what I'm seeing here and their story. And it always brings up something more for them. Or I said, about 10 years ago, did you start getting so tired, your face would fall, you'd fall on your plate at the dinner table practically? I'm like, yeah. How would you know that? And so I'm like, well, I'm looking at this could be a virus thing that set in 10 years ago. So then we get the information and it's not just like, okay, here you go. Here's your stuff. It's now, what are we going to do about it?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm sorry, I'm going to say this. I'm so over root cause. I really am. I want to say it because it's true, but I'm kind of over that. You know what I mean? It's everywhere. It's like we're saturated with root cause.
At this point, it's more of a catchphrase.
Yes.
Than an actual thing that's done in practice.
Exactly. So I'm tired of using it. So what I use detects the imbalance in the body at the cellular level. We're seeing it at that level. This is why this is the best preventative health too, because these things start to change at the cellular level years before you're going to have any symptoms. It's not like we're doing great on Tuesday and then we have an autoimmune disease on Wednesday.
No, these are things that are years in the making.
Yes. So preventive stuff, awesome. That's basically what I did with my naturopathic physician. We did this preventatively, except for when she saved my life. And so what we will get to the bottom of why are you tired? Why do your joints hurt? Why can't you sleep? Why do you have a headache? Why do you have this autoimmune disease? Why is your thyroid a hot mess? So we'll get the information. I write up a very user-friendly write-up. That's something I learned too, because I came from clinical world of like, you've written up like someone who's like, there should be a corpse or something. It sounds so bad.
Yeah.
So
All the medical speak.
when I first started, people like look at their things like, how am I walking? How am I even here on earth? I'm like, okay, I gotta dial it down a little better. So basically, it's soft now. Now I actually curate a story. So when I deliver a write up after a session, it's their story. So you started feeling this many years ago. Well, your pituitary gland started to slack off. It didn't have any union backup anymore, so it quit. Okay, so stop doing things. So then it trickled here, and that's why you're feeling like this. And that's why this happened and that happened. And so we pull it together and here you are. It's so much nicer than standing the clinical report. That's part of my learning curve too. When you scare the bejesus out of people, they run and they go into freeze. And that's not helping. I'm like,
No.
Okay, bad idea. Let's present this differently. Okay. So it's done, but it's the information they need. It corroborates with how they feel. And then I provide the first steps to get them moving. We can't have a plan that addresses everything we find because it took 20 years to get there, 30 years to get there, 50 years for them to get there, whatever it might be.
Yeah.
So we got to unpack that. And we got to unpack that over time because that's what's going to make that permanent shift in them.
Yeah.
Because we're rebuilding at the cellular level. We're going to build a new healthy person. So it takes time. So when people work with me, the ones that do the best are those that are really committed, that take responsibility for their health and aren't in this rigid mindset. Like this is the only way to heal, because you're going to see me talking about how we're going to work on getting these plastics out of your body that we've found, or these chemicals. We've got glyphosate. No one has the same thing too, which is fascinating.
That is fascinating, actually.
It's so fascinating. And because everyone has different capacity to detox. So you and I might be like macking on glyphosate food all day long, and maybe it won't show up in our body. That's not recommended.
We're not recommending that. I definitely think some of us have higher tolerances for different chemicals.
Absolutely. Because we detox all in different ways. And because of however much junk. I had a gal one time and I was like, I don't even know how to pronounce this chemical. I don't even know what it is. She goes, well, what is it? And I can't remember what it was now. And I said, blah, 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 blah. She goes, oh yeah, that's what they treat the PG&E poles with. And she was a PG&E worker. Have I seen that on any other scan? No. So there's a good example. So it's so fascinating.
Right.
So not only are we going to talk about moving these things out of the body because they're impacting that particular person's health, just as equally, I want people getting out and putting their feet on the ground. You guys, we're just all a bunch of electrons.
Truly.
And so when our charge goes down and our electrons aren't as active, that's called moving out of this earth, okay, over time, slowly. So we need to get on the ground, pull those electrons up in our body. We need to sun gaze in the morning without glasses, without sunscreen, without a hat, because this is how our bodies were designed. We're designed to use the dirt, the ground, the electrons, the trees, the sky.
We're literally plants.
We are literally plants.
We need the same things.
Exactly. And so when that sun is coming in the morning and going into our eyes, it's signaling our pineal gland. It's making melatonin for that night.
Mm.
Okay. Now melatonin helps us to sleep, but it's also a major antioxidant and it protects our organ.
Yeah.
And most of it's made in our mitochondria. And then the rest of it's made in our pineal gland. But we need the sun in order to do that.
Yeah.
So we're going to do all these fancy things over here, like detoxing and blah, blah, blah.
Right.
And I don't do generic anything. Like everybody gets this deep. No, it's like, ooh, you're not ready for this. We'll do this in like 2 months. Okay.
Yeah.
But it is equally here. We're out here and breathing. 70% of our detoxification pathway is through our breathing out. We get it out.
Yeah.
So they'll be like, but I want to do all the things. Give me a pill. Give me a detox. That's all cute over there. That's whole breathing and touch a tree thing. I'm like, no, it's literally
Like literally, it can be that simple.
it's literally as critical as the detox. And it's
Right?
free. It's
It's
free.
what's crazy about that is we are so trained to be consumers that if we have a problem, we need to consume or purchase a solution. That is the model that we are taught from day one, where truly most of the healing is already ours. It's available to us. It can be that simple.
And so little shifts like that. If there's a food that's been offending their body, now usually the offending foods are never offending their mouth.
Yeah. It's never your favorite things.
Um, so we're shifting those things, moving the offending foods out to start to allow the body to stop being stabbed. I kind of just look at it's like, let's just give the body a break because the body can heal.
Yeah.
We just need to give it a chance, especially the gut. The cell turnover in the gut's every 5 days, you guys. Like it's not that hard to heal our gut if you have the right guidance and you know what's wrong. And so then we will make those adjustments, pull supplements out. I would like to make that clear here too. I am not a big supplement fan. That's going to make a lot of people probably go, oh, that's weird. What I'm a fan of is the fact that I can look at you at the cellular level and know exactly where you need support. And it might just be a little of this one amino acid, or it might just be you need some B12, or you're low in glutathione, which is a master antioxidant in our body, made in our liver. Okay. So I will then look at what do you need? And it always makes sense because it always corroborates with their symptoms.
Yeah.
And then I will see, are you already getting that somewhere? Maybe we can boost it with what you have already. And if they don't, they're very low, if they're very mineral deficient, then, I'm going to put them on some minerals or an adrenal cocktail. Okay. There's not anyone that doesn't love an adrenal cocktail. So I will add those things if we need it, but I will be pulling supplements out of people's schedules because if they don't need it, too many supplements will start to confuse the body because the vitamins, the minerals, the cofactors, all these things, the enzymes, they provide instructions to the body. I don't think people really thought about what all these things are doing. They're providing instructions. So what if you're somewhere and the body and someone's going, go left, go right, look up, look down, stop, go. Or like doing stop stuff at night, go stuff in the morning. The body's like, I have no time to heal because I'm on like the teacup ride.
Yeah.
So I'll pull the supplements out they don't need, make sure they're getting exactly what their body needs, like a little poof of something. Okay.
Yeah.
Little support, adjust the diet, add foods. If they need something to support their thyroid, like selenium, I'm like, eat 3 Brazil nuts a day.
Yeah.
Teaspoon of Dijon mustard. Okay. So like adding there, like lifestyle adjustments.
Right.
Okay. Then very close. Like I'm always available through my private online health portal. Questions there. Like I don't just bye. You're there clarifying. They start whatever their plan is. No one gets a generic plan. I don't have a generic plan. It's custom medicine. I want it to work for them. So then we regroup in about a month this year or so after they've integrated the things we've been doing. And then we come back for a follow-up session. How's it going? What's going on? We just keep unpacking. What changed? What showed up? Because something else got clear and this other thing goes, oh, my turn. No, it wasn't as important as the other thing, but I need to talk too. Okay, you're getting this weird rash or something on your left arm. Where'd that come from? Okay, so it's just, what are we unpacking? We continue to unpack. We adjust the plan. If there was a need for a detox, at that point, I'm assessing detox readiness.
Okay.
Based on how they're responding. Running to detox right away is what is causing so many people to get in trouble. Unless you're just lucky and your liver happens to be functioning great and your kidneys are great and flushing, most of these people, their body cannot even handle a detox.
That makes sense. Yeah.
So that's one of the first things we're doing. We're opening those detox pathways, not generically based on their scan. Then we would introduce a detox if we need to at that point. Are we ready to move some gut bacteria at that point? Is your body ready? Okay. So we now have an updated plan, move through that. So we keep repeating that pattern as long as the person needs to keep coming back together. And then they're like, yeah, I'm good. I'm feeling pretty good. I'm just going to take it from here. Awesome. Some people are like, yeah, let's rescan. So do a rescan typically at around 4 to 6 months, on average about 6 months. And so we can see what's changed at the cellular level, which is really awesome. People love to hear like, oh my God, my liver's that much better. My kidney functions that much better. My adrenals aren't screaming at the top of their lungs
You're
anymore.
not cooked.
And then they're like, their adrenals look good on my scan and they look like this on my Zoom. And so it's fun.
That's awesome. So are people mailing you their nails and stuff?
Yeah. So once we're on our discovery call and they book on the call.
Yeah.
And then once that happens, they're put into my system and the
Okay.
client forms get sent out to them. I work with Practice Better, which is a private online health portal for practitioners.
Okay.
It's kind of like a My Chart, My Health Online, but it's for private practitioners. And very specific instructions on getting the hair and nail samples
Okay.
taken and sent to me are provided because it is pretty specific
Okay.
to make sure it's an accurate specimen that they're sending. So
All right.
that's what's done. If they need to have a saliva kit sent out due to hair color or fingernails, then I ship the saliva kit out to them. And then we meet on a Zoom call. That's how we do our session. It's over Zoom. So I have clients across the country. I have clients in other countries. I just need to watch my time change things. That's one of my learning curves.
Dang time zones.
I will send them their confirmations and I'll say, okay, so your appointment is at 12 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, / 3 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. So they can know there's no confusion there. Because if I sent it 3 o'clock Eastern Standard, I'd screw it up and I wouldn't jump on until 6 o'clock their time. So we meet on Zoom, which is great.
Yes.
Because I can help so many more people.
Right.
Yeah. So even people that are locally in town, I still do it over Zoom. I don't go anywhere. I have to take this device to certain things. Like I'm going to be at this amazing health festival next month in Tahoe, which means I'm going to be schlepping my device, which makes me, I don't do it a lot because of the value of it. I'm like, my precious, they're like, don't drop it. And you can't just send it into like, oh my God, I almost said Radio Shack. That's why I'm old.
That's not aging us at all.
I know, like, well, let's see, that's why you can't just like shoot it in like, hey, could you take a look at this? Like, you have to send it to Germany. So
we don't want to do that.
So, but that's why I do prefer doing it this way too. I'm not going anywhere. And I do like to do it this way as well, because even if I'm in-person events, I like to make eye contact. I was always the nurse that was sitting in the chair at the bedside, looking in the person eye to eye. So there was never this like, you're the patient and I'm the boss. I just can't stand that. And so it's hard for me when in person because I feel like I need to look at them, but I can't look at them and look at all the information that's just coming up in rapid fire in front of me and make sense of it all. So, like I said, even if they're local, I'm doing it on Zoom.
I'm the same way. I think so many people are going to walk away from this conversation with some aha moments about themselves of where they do feel that uncomfortability. And I think you're really inspiring and that you were brave and you followed that. And now you have this amazing business that is thriving and you're helping so many people because you followed your heart. You followed what was the initial next step, even if it was scary, even if it was, what am I doing? Am I crazy? And everything just worked out for you. And you're so inspiring in that. And this is such an amazing, exciting study. I think people are going to really, really love this. So how can people find you? How can they connect? How can they schedule that first meeting with you?
They can reach out to me. I'm not in love with my website right now because it's being rebuilt. Either go to the website and hit the discovery call. It's nursejenjordan.com. So, I mean, I guess the website's fine. It's just, I learned a lot. For everyone out there, if you haven't already figured it out, I had a session with Andie 2 days ago and learned a lot about myself. So now I know why I want my website to be even prettier. Even though it's probably just fine. I'm more than happy as well if people want to email me, jen@nursejenjordan.com. Can I mention something else that I don't? So the other thing where I've been extremely blessed and guided, I really love to use things that are very natural and work with the body's own rhythm. I already talked about that with sun gazing and grounding and water awareness, which we didn't go into that, but it's a big thing. I also have been blessed to have discovered a I don't want to call it a treatment, but a support system using photobiomodulation. And so I found something 3 years ago that's changed my practice actually, because I don't have to lean into any kind of supplements. Like I said, I'm not a big supplementer anyway, but the little
Mhm.
bit I would do because the body would need a boost, I've been able to pull a lot of those back and just stick a patch on somebody.
Oh, that's amazing.
So I've discovered something that God delivered to me.
Of course. Of course.
I would, and I actually pushed it away for about 6 months. I was very skeptical. But what this does is this technology uses our own body's light to
Okay.
heal. Because light, does everybody here know that we're light beings?
Yes.
Okay,
If
so
you
that's
don't, now you do.
if you do, yes. And that's how we can see people at night with night vision goggles because we emit heat and we emit rays, infrared light. We're light beings. So what this light does, what light is information.
Mhm. Yep.
When light is in the body and directed back into the body, the sun, when it's directed back into the body, it's information signaling. I want people to know how magical their bodies are. And so the light we receive is giving our body signals because it's providing information to our body on how to do things. The light from the sun tells our body to make vitamin D. The light holds instructions. There's no vitamin D in the sun.
But
It,
it tells our
it
body
hits
to.
us instruction. So this technology I use reflects back into our body and uses our light to inform ourselves on what to do. I have
That's
never
fascinating.
seen anything like this. I've never seen anything balance the brain so well, so quickly, and I can measure it. It's on my scans, the before and the after. I've never seen anything like this correct the mitochondria, our powerhouses of our cells, give us energy. I've never seen anything like this that informs our body how to not be in pain, informs our body how to heal our joints. It's incredible. I'd love to do a whole separate thing on this maybe sometime.
Okay.
It's
We'll have to
incredible.
have you back
Anyway, I wanted to share that
for
because
part two.
you
Yes.
will be, yes, you will be introduced to some really cool things to heal your body.
That's so interesting to me from an astrological standpoint. As we move into Pluto and Aquarius and Uranus and Gemini, I think so many more of these cutting edge technologies that are based on light, are based on energetics, are going to start to be more and more readily available to us because the technology is catching up with what has always been. Zooming out, nerding out a little bit more on astrology and human design, which I did your reading for you. Everything that's in your chart can be tied to quantum physics and with what planets are emitting a very distinct signal that is literally coding you to be the human you are at birth. It's actual science that you show up the way that you are because it's quantum physics. It's neutrinos that are actually being emitted by these planets that are coding you at birth. And that's how you are the way that you are. It's literally what you were just saying. It's embedding you with a code.
So I'm going to tie that in
Yes.
because more about the time waiver. The time waiver works in the quantum field.
Ah, that makes sense.
So when it's reading the frequencies of the DNA, it's reading everything that's been recorded in that person's DNA from birth and the information that came into the DNA before birth.
Mhm.
So this is why it's interesting that it can go so personal and so deep and go to the origins of people's health issues because it can take me all the way back to where it started. Was it on a grandmother's side, a grandpa? Now, do I do that with everybody? Only if it makes sense. I can read people really well. If it seems
Yeah.
applicable, we'll go there. If I got someone's husband that was just drug in by his wife, no, we're not going to do that. We're just
Yeah.
going to talk about his bowel habits or something.
You beat them where they're at. You meet them at their level of weird.
Absolutely. But I love that you're saying that it's quantum physics because this is quantum physics that working this. And also everyone's talking about peptides. Guess how peptides are made? Our body is informed by light.
Yeah.
Okay, our body is informed with the light inside our body, the cellular reactions. So guess what this technology does that I use? It informs the body how to make these peptides.
That's amazing.
It's amazing. So I'm so happy you brought up the quantum because the clinical side of me leaves out that sometimes about the time waiver is that we are working in the quantum field and that is how it knows exactly what is going on because it can see that person.
That is so fascinating. Okay, everyone is going to love this episode. So we'll definitely have to have you come back on and talk about more weird things. But I think
Oh,
everyone is weirded in with you. I love that thing where it's like, you think you overshare, but you actually weirded me in. I love that phrase.
oh,
It's
I
like,
love weirded me in.
we
I
weirded me in.
love that.
That's what I hope to do here on the podcast is just like weird people in.
Oh, okay. Then we definitely need to come back because I have a lot of weird in material.
Okay, we're here for it.
That was mostly Nurse Jen here. Okay.
Yes. All right. Well, we'll have to come back for a follow up here in a little bit.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for coming on. I hope everyone connects with you. Until next week, everybody. Much love.
Thank you so much.